Hey there guys, Adrian Custer here, aka Jedi Bro 95, coming at you guys with another video. And in this video, I want to be talking about what has happened to the Atlanta Hawks. Because the Atlanta Hawks had very high aspirations this season. A lot of people thought that they were going to be vying for a top seed, or at least home court advantage in the first round of the postseason. But now we're looking at the Hawks at the outside of the playoffs and wondering what exactly is going on with Atlanta. Well, there's a few explanations, in my opinion, that I think are really contributing to Atlanta's downfall right now. One is Trae Young's defensive unimpact. Trae Young is still one of the biggest defensive liabilities in the entire association, and I would even argue he is the biggest defensive liability in the entire association. Don't get me wrong, Trae Young can make up for it with his offensive firepower, but Trae Young can only do so much offensively before he actually has to be like, okay, I need to start chipping in defensively. And honestly, that could be one of the biggest things that holds him back for his career is his defensive inabilities. And if he can't figure it out, then, the Hawks are not going to be a playoff team this season. Don't get me wrong, they'll still be a playoff team in like a year or so, or maybe a couple of years. But, I'm looking at it right now, and if the Hawks if Trae Young can't figure it out defensively, and it's not even just Trae Young, it's an entire team issue, as the Hawks right now, looking at a basketball reference, they're actually below average on opponents' points per game, and they are actually 22nd out of 30, which means they're in the bottom 10 right now in defensive rating. So this is not a very good defensive team, and, you can't win just by offense alone unless you just are, like, amazing at it. And don't get me wrong, Trae Young is pretty good, but offensively, like I said, he can only do so much. So that is one of the biggest, if not the biggest problem holding back Atlanta right now from being a legit playoff contender. The second thing is their pace, with guys like Trae Young, Bogdanovich, Clint Capella, Kevin Huerter, and even guys like Rajon Rondo. You'd think that this would be an up-tempo team that would push the ball and get easy baskets right in the league, but they're not. They're 18th in pace, which, if you don't know what pace is, first of all, how do you watch basketball? Second of all, it's just basically the number of possessions a team has in a game, or like the amount of points a team can score per 100 possessions, something like that, if I remember correctly. Let me just get just a quick little tidbit of information here, just to help make sure that I am completely correct. But yeah, the Hawks are below average in pace this season, and it kind of makes me wonder, why are they not pushing the ball more to get easier shots? Okay, so pace is estimated number of possessions within a 48-minute game. Okay, so it's just basically the number of possessions a team will get in a game. This team is not very fast-paced at all. And I wonder what is going on when you have players like Bogdan, when you have players like Trae Young, Rajon Rondo, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella, Cam Reddish. You got some athletic guards that can sprint the floor. You got some mobile big men that can run the floor. But this team is not very up-tempo at all. So I don't get why the coach for the Hawks, I cannot remember his name, is not running the ball more. Thirdly, and this is probably the biggest reason as to why the Hawks have struggled, is because some of their new pickups have been dreadful. Oh my goodness. I'm looking at, like, Kevin Huerter this year is shooting 42% from the field while putting up 12 points a game, which, outside from just the field, he's shooting okay and above average in some areas. Cam Reddish is completely just has not developed into the player that he should be. And in my opinion, he has regressed from last season. And one could argue that if he doesn't turn it around, he could be a bust for this Atlanta Hawks team, as Cam Reddish is putting up 11 points on 38% from the field and 26% from behind the arc. Bogdanovich has not really transitioned fully, in my opinion, to the Hawks, as he's putting up almost not even 10 points on 38% from the field. Danilo Gallinari has struggled a little bit. Solomon. Like, there's a lot of people who have struggled on this roster. And Trae Young can, like I said, Trae Young can only do so much. That should be the title of this video. But, you know, defensively, they're not playing very elite. They're slow as heck. Not slow as heck. They're slower than they should be, in my opinion, especially with some actual not overly slow and decently athletic players, and the fact that defensively they're just not very good. So what can the Hawks do? Well, obviously the answer is do everything else. Okay, like, first up, they probably need to make a move to get some more perimeter defensive rotations. Get rid of Danilo Gallinari, because in my opinion, that move did not make sense even when it was happening. Nobody understood why the Hawks would go after Danilo Gallinari when they needed to address the defensive end of the floor. They did not need more shooters or more offensive firepower. They needed to get more defensive punch. So they need to make a move and get rid of Danilo Gallinari and his contract, because his contract is, I mean, it's not as bad as it could be, but for a person of his production and his age, I think the Hawks management's having buyer's remorse. Secondly, they need to push the ball more. They need to get more up tempo. Get these athletes that they have, like John Collins, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, and even Trae Young and Cam Reddish. They need to get up and down the floor. You know, that's because, again, they're not totally, like, unathletic. They're not a team that deserves to be so slow and moving so below average in terms of pace. Next, the third and final thing is they need to get another competent ball handler for Trae Young to get him off the ball and moving in space for catch and shoot opportunities, which you could probably do with the Danilo Gallinari move. You can probably move Danilo Gallinari, maybe move him to Houston, get Victor Oladipo or somebody. That would solve the perimeter defensive issues potentially, and you would also potentially get another shot creator on the perimeter. Or you maybe could trade him to Denver, pick up Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. needs to get out of, I think he doesn't need to get out of Denver, but he should get out of Denver, go to a situation where he can properly develop, and the Nuggets can pick up a piece that can actually help them contend, because that is what they need right now. They need contending pieces. They don't need development projects. But anyways, those I think are my takes on what I think Atlanta should do and why they're struggling right now. But let me know in the comment section below, Hawks fans. I want to hear your take on this. What do you think is going on with Atlanta? Did I hit the nail on the head? Did I completely miss on a couple of points? Do not be afraid to let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you guys are new for more NBA content like this. And like I said, like the video if you guys did enjoy. But with that, I'm out. Peace.